Hello and welcome to Retro Cars Reborn. I'm Lee, and once again we're with the Peugeot, so let's get on with it. So I cut the lower quarter off, so today we're going to focus on cleaning all of this area up so that we can get to the spot welds and hopefully we can get this sill off. So let's see how we go. Right then, so far there's not that many spot welds to deal with. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. That holds it to the inner bit of the floor, that holds it to the inner bit of the floor, and that holds this piece to the sill, same as that holds it to the sill as well as the inner piece of the floor. I'm not too sure if the anchor bracket for the seatbelt goes all the way down. I can't remember. I have got this entire piece under rear quarter if I really need to look at it when I come to unpicking it, but we'll get these three out and then we shall see how, if anything else holds that on. I can't remember if there's one further in. I think there are a couple from the inside, but we shall see. So I drilled that one out, and that one out, and as you can see now, that piece is free. I noticed these two while cleaning it up some more. So this piece is now completely free. There's another section, I believe, back here that's connected. Grab the torch. So I'm just gone and cleaned up here. As you can see, it's starting to reveal where all the next spot welds are, all to drill out. Now, I could just cut this directly there and just grind all this off, but I want to try and get it off intact as much as possible so that I can see where the spot welds were originally. So when I put my sill on, it's, you know, as close to factory as possible. Moving to the underside is going to be a little bit more difficult because there's still quite a lot of filler holding these sills on. And once this sill is off, we go underneath. There's a hole here somewhere. It's back here, look. Once the sill's off, I can tackle this hole underneath there as well. And I can see exactly how this floor pan is going to fit. So let's clean up the underneath of here as well now, and then we'll be able to see. You can just see, look, how much filler is still stuck on there. Yeah, so let's do that and we'll see how much filler's on there. As well, you've got to disconnect the inner wheel arch from the top there, which is pretty easy. It's just 3 spot welds vertically down on top of it. So I'll crack on with that and we'll come back. So this here is one of the reasons why I'm putting a full sill on this, other than the fact that it's completely crusty at the front and it's so thin. But yeah, this is your door, and this is where the rear quarter swoops down, and there's like a panel that flows here and comes back up, and it's like that, and that's how they spot weld this piece down onto it. Now that was all covered in filler. As you can see, there's still some filler dug in there, so I think that was completely filled over while it was rotted. Basically that was all rotted out before they filled over it, because they've just chucked a ginormous blob of weld here, look, to hold the rear quarter to the car as like a securing point. So we're gonna have to cut that blob of weld out to release the fucking B pillar. But yeah, even with just taking it out, just taking the filler out, look, you can see it's not attached. The whole pillar moves away. Whole pillar moves away from the sill. So yeah, I think this piece here was already rotted and they just filled over it. And it wouldn't surprise me, even with a brand new rear quarter on the other side, it wouldn't surprise me if it's the same in this corner. But luckily when I bought them full rear quarters, these two pieces here are perfectly intact. So we'll be able to cut this across here and weld that new piece in and spot weld it down, and it'll look okay. So I'm just going to cut that to release this now. Yeah, so just cutting through that bit of metal that you can see where it was blobbed on, you can physically just see it, look. And then with that bit cut out of the way, that's it now, the rear quarter is no longer attached to the sill, and I think that's the whole plate detached. There might be one spot weld on the inside holding it on now, but I'll move to cleaning the underneath and then we shall drill that front piece off, and then we're practically ready to start to extract the sill itself. So that's most of that cleaned up. I just hit that with the spot weld chisel and it came straight off. And now we've done all of the under of the sill. So I'm going to start with this top piece. I'm going to drill them out up till there. Then we'll drill the bottom and we'll see how difficult it is to remove. It's officially got that time of the year where I needed to put the heater on. It's gold. Wow. I did the spot welds across the top, and as you can see they all pretty much gave up and worked out perfectly. Just find a screwdriver. Yeah, wedge it in there. The whole top of the sill is free up until this point here, because then there's a couple of spot welds, I imagine, on that front panel, or again it's seam sealer that's holding it all in. I'll have to clean up that bit there and have a look. But yeah, I'm going to move on to the underside now. Give it a wipe down, clean it, see if I can see where the spot welds are, drill them out, and well, you'll get to see if it works. So, I have drilled out all of the spot welds across the bottom. Forgot there was 2 spot welds hidden there. I managed to get one, but the other one was pretty hard to get to without absolutely destroying this lower panel, so I just bent it up out of the way because it's metal, you can straighten it, so no problems there. So pretty much the sill now is completely off. But then I come to the front and trying to figure out how they actually attached the sill here. It may be spot welded, but this is so corroded that even if I clean it up, I ain't going to be able to see the spot welds. So I went and got the actual replacement sill. You can see they're pretty good replica. They've got all of the little bits in them, you know, all these little tiny drain bits for the water to run out of. Same down there, same underneath. Look, they've got all the little drain holes. They've got the bits that fit round the jacking points, you can see underneath there. Look. So then we come to this front bit. Now the original cast piece, or pressed steel, not cast, there isn't a groove there, as there is on the reproduction, but that's fine because you just weld that up and then flat it back and it'll be perfectly fine. But yeah, looking at it from the inside, it's pretty deep, so I might have to just cut round this bottom, leave that bit on the front so I can figure out how it comes off without destroying this this little piece here, because as you can see it's only weathered round where the grommet has been. The rest of it, look, is still treated galvanised steel. So that's where we're at the minute. So I'll do some more digging into this front, and hopefully I can put sill by sill and we can have a good look at them. Right then, so I obviously drilled out all the spot welds. I spoke to you a bit about the front and how I couldn't figure out how it came off. Well, I shall show you. So it didn't go all the way to the back, so that spot weld I drilled out there is actually for this lower plate, which is part of this front piece. So now all that at the minute moves as one, but as you can see, even though I can move it, it still does not want to come off. So what I can see is how it's put on is it folds down. Look, you see that lip there? It folds underneath and actually hides the inner sill seam. So basically it folds underneath it. So getting a spot weld chisel up in there is quite difficult. And from what I can tell is, even though I've drilled out all the spot welds, it just does not want to move it. You can see it just cuts straight through it, and it just destroys it. Whenever you try and take it off as it should come off, it just ends up just destroying it basically. So I think I'm just going to resort to cutting this lower lip off, and then I can deal with the spot welds afterwards. And it's getting a full replacement sill anyway, so it's not like I'm trying to save it. So yes, I'm just going to cut all the way across this lower section so I can actually remove the upper section completely, and then we can assess what the inside is like. Start doing these repairs where it's rotted through from one side to the other. Repair that hole which is about there. So yeah, I'll have a go at cutting this off, and hopefully the sill will be off. There we go, so you see me cut through it, and look at it now. You can see light through it. So now I think it's a case of take this down and have a look at them spot welds from the inside that are here, because because I think that literally is the only thing holding the sill in there. I have yet ran into more problems. So I was just telling you about the spot welds on the inside, which I have done. They're literally just one there, and where that little cutout is, there's one there, and I've had to do it from the back. There's another one. If I can get it in shot, just there where that little rusty stain is. Quite difficult. So here you would expect this to be nice and easy to come out now, because I've drilled the spot welds out. Now I decided to put one there, and the other one's just there. Look where that little tiny dot is. And you cannot get a drill. You can get a drill on that one, because I would have drilled it. You cannot get a drill on that one, and there's another one underneath the B pillar. You can see them from the inside. If you pull the sill out, you can see from the underneath where they are. So I think my plan now is I'm just going to cut down here, cut along here, cut back up, and leave that bit in there. I can remove it afterwards. The 3 days of fighting, as soon as I cut round that little mount, it fell straight off. So yeah, so it's nice to see that the frame worked perfectly. It's kept the rear quarter perfectly lined up. Look, it's literally just drop the torch. As soon as you press it in, it still matches up with the inner sill. It's nice to see that they put some protection in here. The brown layer, there's a protective coating. They ran all the way down the inside of the sill. It's nice to see it's not too damaged. And then they did put some protective coating on the inside of the sill. Torch that side. Not a lot though. Look, it never reached the front, and if it did, it was not a lot. Not very sufficient to keep the front as nice. So remember earlier in the video, and I had to cut out a piece of weld here. If you flip the inner sill, flip the outer sill over, there you go, you can see from the underside where they welded it. So yeah, I'm guessing that bit was completely rotten when they decided to just fill over the top, which is a bit of a dick move. But yeah, so I'll just trim these pieces off, and trim this bottom piece off now. Got to work out how to get it off, and I'll offer the new sill up, and we'll see what a difference it is. I can't say I'm not impressed with how the new one fits. It just looks so good. Practically perfect. Could do with being a little bit higher there, look. But we can work all the niggly bits out when it comes to actually be put on. Yeah, I can see what they did there. They just stepped it down, look. There, look, it steps down and gets lower than the original. Yeah, just look at it. It fits perfectly in there still. Showing again that the bracing is working perfectly. There's to drop it in, and it pretty much fit straight how it should do. That's the make of the panels. There's the panel number for this particular one if anyone wants to look it up online. But yeah, it is looking good. So we did it. We got the effing sill off. It is totally done. Crusty and absolutely mangled. So that's one thing that I can tick off the board in the back. At least one sill is off and done with. So in the next video, hopefully we can get this sill fitted, but before that I want to look at the wheel tub because it's very crusty. I'm probably going to end up cutting it out and slotting a bit of a wheel tub out of another rear quarter that I've got. So thanks for watching, remember to subscribe and I shall see you in the next video.